Welcome back to the second episode of Zero to Hero for Season 3 of The War Within. If you haven't seen the first video, you can find the link for that in the description of this video. Despite it being half a pole, our tank decided to link damage meters. Who the hell do you think you are? This week starts off just like any other week, with a vault opening.
What's in the box?
We picked up an Astral Antenna Trinket, which is best in slot for MM and Survival Hunter. With the completion of the final quest in the storyline for 11.2, we kill Dementius in story mode and are able to pick up a Ruined Crest. We use this to craft wrists with ideal stats and a Dawn Thread embellishment.
Nice.
Jumping right into M+, we are headed into +4s this week. Important to note, because we are now running +4s and above, we have to deal with the weekly affix, this week's being Devour, which puts a heal absorb on all players and needs to be dispelled or healed off. As a hunter, we can actually remove this affix from ourselves using Feign Death with the Emergency Salve talent. Starting off, we are headed to Priory of the Sacred Flame. This dungeon starts off with a large, lust-worthy pole. Here, we have to deal with fervent sharpshooters, who will disengage from the pole to shoot from a distance. We can use our bursting shot to knock the sharpshooters back into melee. This pole needs to die quickly, as there are many wandering paths that can possibly be pulled, and sharpshooters can disengage into other paths. Of course, we were stuck with a mage doing tank damage, so this pole was anything but quick. After 2 whole minutes, we proceeded onto the first of 4 mini-bosses, Suleiman. Quickly after Suleiman dies, the next mini-boss, Chainmail, will be sent rushing to avenge him. 2 out of 4 mini-bosses down. The next pole was an unusual one, as normally the pack with the 2 war links is skipped. This is because the war links will leap to a player and apply a nasty stacking debuff, and if you're unlucky like me, this will happen 3 times, leading to your certain death. The third mini-boss, Amia, will use Reflective Shield, reflecting 70% of incoming damage. This shield needs to be broken with care, as to not accidentally lead to any deaths. In this pole, we also have 2 light spawns. These mobs are generally pretty easy to deal with, but when they reach low health, they will cast Burst of Light, which is a kamikaze move that will deal large damage to players and heal other adds up. Unfortunately, as Amia spammed her casts, she was caught in both blasts and fully healed. After killing her, essentially twice, Dual Mal, the 4th and last mini-boss, is summoned. Dual Mal will spam cast Fireball, as well as Ember Storm, a ground effect that has to be dodged. After Dual Mal is defeated, we move on to the first boss, Captain Dalecry. Depending on if you go left or right up the stairs, Dalecry will actually be joined by a different lieutenant. Because we went left, we have to deal with Elena, who will channel Holy Radiance, pulsing large AoE damage. If you instead go right, he will be joined by Dual Mal, the mini-boss we just killed. After Dalecry, we clear through a few waves of paladins.
Well met. Well met.
And are already on to our second boss fight, Baron Braunpike. This fight requires a lot of running around, as we have to soak orbs and avoid hammers, which is a pain as marksmanship. Still top dog, though. We made our way to the last room, which is by far the most intense part of the dungeon, and where most Priory keys go to die. Despite being relatively straightforward, the wandering pack in the middle and the tight quarters leads to easy back-pulling and tab targeting. Braunpike, the boss we just killed, has also been resurrected as an undead and stands in the middle of the room. He now applies a debuff that deals crazy damage to all players, meaning chain pulling into him is almost always a wipe. This happened to us, not once, and not twice, but 3 times. Our comfortable time cushion had been whittled away by this room. But, despite this setback, and a less than useless mage, we were still able to successfully time the key. Our next stop is the new dungeon, Ecodome Aldani. Starting off the dungeon, most groups opt to skip over the first 2 packs, as the percent is not necessary, and the additional Voracious Gorger and set of mites makes the pull more difficult. This pull is definitely lustworthy. The first boss, a Z-Car? I don't know how to... is mostly about ad management. These mites will rapidly jump from player to player, meaning even as a ranged hunter, we stack in to keep them grouped up. During Devour, the boss will summon more mites and pull everything in, instantly killing anything it touches and healing a large portion of health. After Askar is defeated, we head into the next area, which has overcharged sentinels, nasty elites that enrage at 50% health. Most groups opt to skip as many of these as possible, as they are thick clouds and will drop area denial on the ground, quickly diminishing the amount of area we have to fight. The second boss, a Wazj, drops spears on players, keeping them bound to a certain area. This is an innocent mechanic that can get out of hand if too many players are caught in the spear. Get this shit off me! During the intermission, run your line through the boss to destabilize him, and rinse and repeat. The next area contains Wasteland Pack Speakers, who will summon a spirit and channel to consume it, gaining a shield. This ad needs to be quickly killed to prevent the Pack Speaker from getting a big shield. They also cast Erratic Ritual, a large AoE damage ability. The pole before the final boss can include 2 of these Pack Speakers, which can be extremely dangerous. The last boss itself mostly focuses around Fatebound, which are illusions of the player that need to be picked up before they are hit with a mechanic.
The boy who lived has come to die.
We were able to 2-chest this key and even pick up an okay ring for our troubles. Taking a quick break from keys, I decided to pick up the Disc Belt. This belt was added as a part of the 11.1.7 patch, but remains the best in slot belt for Marksman Hunter. All that needs to be done to obtain this 704i level belt is to pick up the quest at the Titan console in Dornigal, and run delves. I used this opportunity as well to use a Shrieking Quartz, which can either drop randomly for delves or be bought from Finlay. After reaching the checkpoint in a delve, we can use this item to summon Kaiveza, and once defeating her, she will drop 1 map per week, which can instantly be used to guarantee a heroic piece of gear at the end of the delve. Heading back into M+, we are going to the Dawnbreaker. This dungeon used to be extremely buggy and straight up infuriating to run. And none of that has changed. Right off the bat, we started off rough, as after walking into the dungeon, I got up to grab some water and was shocked when I got back to see the key had already started. I was additionally shocked to see that I had aggro on one of the RP ads, because why fix bugs that have been around since Season 1? We also have fun new little bugs, like a super loud sound effect once we get to the boat. People actually voted for this dungeon to come back, but that is because it's easy and quick. The main struggle we had with this dungeon was in the town of Merildar. As percent numbers have changed since Season 1, people are still learning new routing. The best thing to do early season is to follow the tank and adjust if percent gets off. Nothing went tragically wrong in this dungeon. The main thing I was still working on was the rotational intricacies of MM Hunter. We have a really smooth rotation of consistently using aim shot into steady shot. We do this for a few reasons. We don't want to run out of focus, it helps smooth the rotation because it reduces the cooldown on aim shot, and it gives time to see if we have a black arrow proc. The main problem I was having was ignoring black arrow procs when I actually got them, and defaulting to the regular rotation. This results in a huge DPS loss, so I decided to download a weak aura that makes a noise with every black arrow proc.
Hey! Listen! Hey! Listen! Hey!
This annoyed the hell out of me, enough to not miss my black arrow procs, and enough to uninstall the weak aura immediately after this dungeon. Despite a rough start, we had 2-chested another +4 key. One of the last dungeons we have yet to run is Tazavesh, Streets of Wonder. Yet another old Shadowlands dungeon, Streets is by far the longest key this season with 5 bosses. The Armored Overseers in the first room will trigger Beam Splicer, a rotating laser that will obliterate anyone in its path. The first boss, Zofex, a wannabe General Grievous, will throw his spinning weapons on the ground and steal a random player's weapon and hide it among his weapons. At 100 energy, the boss will cast Interrogation, locking a player up and slowly walking towards them. Other players need to free their ally from their cage before Zofex reaches them. In this case, our DH didn't run away and was right next to the boss when the cast went. We have a few more Beam Splicers to deal with before we reach the next mini-boss, Zocross. Zocross locks players within a radius around him and will also use Beam Splicers. The next encounter is a 3-boss gauntlet, all with overlapping and complementing mechanics that persist after death. The first boss will use Gluttony on one player that will deal damage over time, but also allow them to pick up the orbs from the second boss for a damage buff. The third boss will root players with a chain, preventing them from dodging orbs until the chain is destroyed. From here, we go right to the next boss, the Postmaster. The main mechanic in this fight is a big group soak, as well as Mailroom Mayhem, where players have to pick up bombs and throw it into the one active vent around the room. The next section of this dungeon requires players to buy an item from this merchant here, and run it to its respective trader. The
Oh,
trader
hey
will be
there,
calling out,
Daddy.
and after doing this 3 times, we get the passcode to enter the next boss room. After picking up an instrument, we use our extra action button to slide across the lit up music notes on the ground. A group of ads will spawn in with an important range kick, and after another music section, we fight the boss. Zogron is a pretty easy fight, but it's important to kick Menacing Shout and save cooldowns for Final Call, which requires a large shield to be broken. We have one last mob, Commander Zophar, who will use Lethal Force to try and yank 2 players together. Ranged can use this part of the stairs to hook themselves into and essentially negate the mechanic. So Osmi is a fight all about portals and shapes.
A cylinder. I think that goes in the square hole.
Each portal will spawn with a matching portal, identified by having the same shape. We use these portals to avoid Shuri and to teleport to the boss in order to interrupt Double Technique. Important note about Double Technique is that, as its name suggests, it needs to be interrupted twice. The second cast will pick up from where the first cast left off, so don't try and milk the first cast down to 1 second, or you will only have 1 second to interrupt the second cast. With Streets conquered, I successfully finished week 3 feeling like I'm well on my way to Keystone Hero and beyond.